Welcome, y'all, to another episode of Truth Be Told with yours truly, Dr. Bombay, your resident local metaphysician. You see it. First of all, let's get a little bit of mood music going. I got to have that. So anyway, like I said, you see the title. Welcome to anybody that's here. I can't see yet. I ain't got my visuals on, but just checking it out. VS Speaks Royalty. Welcome, madam. Welcome. The highly respected VSN in the place. You better put a madam on that. That's a married woman right there. Anyway, I mean, you see it. You see the title. All right, Gaslighter, the Gaslighter, and other online deviants. This is not your typical show. You understand? This is not a sector event. We not into the name dropping. We into having a real conversation, real people about real things. This isn't about your personal vendetta or getting off on somebody on your behalf. We don't do that here. We adults. We handle our own problems in the real world, not online. Which takes us to today's topic, the gaslighting situation. First thing, let me go and drop a little PSA real quick. Hey, to all my online professionals out there that are on here, do me a favor. If you're an online professional, act like it. Give us some of that good knowledge. Give us some of that benefit of your expertise. I mean, for real, y'all. It's too many of y'all on here that's smart, you know, and I don't see you demonstrating and using your gifts. Me, I guess I can hold myself accountable in the same way, but if y'all want to talk about finance, we can get into that. All right, welcome, Malibu Stacy. Welcome. Stace came through from Malibu. Anyway, y'all, check this out. Now, I'm always out perusing on the YouTube avenues, going hither and there, to and fro. And I'm just doing my observations. Man, I'm going to tell you something. I've been kind of working on this thesis in the back of my mind for a very long time. You know, first, I found myself in resistance to that which I was experiencing online. You know, however, I learned to kind of change my outlook a little bit and really analyze what was going on around me. So rather than just simply launching complaints, I decided to slow things down a little bit and just kind of try to break the mechanism down. A lot of you, especially the ones that are within the sound of my voice that's listening, You are online and you're having online experiences, especially on social media. All right, so that's what I wanted to get into. Man, you know what? To me, it seems like it's just one big explosive gaslit bomb that's going off. I wish I had a sound effect for that. So, what do I mean, right? First of all, we got to give the definition for the hearing impaired. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation that occurs in abusive relationships. And yes, your online interactions, those also count as relationships. Some of y'all in here got YouTube booze, you got these online homies and all this other stuff. So that's also a type of a relationship. And let me also say, as a disclaimer, I am not a medical mental health professional. So can't hold me accountable. Anyway, it's a covert type of emotional abuse in which the bully, which I heard a lot of you say that word, or the abuser misleads their target, creating a false narrative and making them question their own judgments in reality. Ultimately, you, the victim of gaslighting, starts to feel unsure about your own perceptions of the world. And sometimes you even wonder, like, am I in a twilight zone? You know, have you ever asked yourself that question? So that's the mechanism. I've heard a lot of you say the word bully, you know, when referring to people online. I've heard that a lot lately, or abuser, or what have you. And I've heard a lot of the word being dropped, creating narratives, creating false narratives. So then something just went ding, you know, in my own mind. I said, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. So basically, we have a lot of individuals that are gaslighting other individuals in a constant state. So, okay, since we're doing the background, historically, where did gaslighting get its name from? It comes from the 1938 play by Patrick Hamilton, known in America as Angel Street, and later developed into the film Gaslight by Alfred Hitchcock. Y'all know Alfred Hitchcock fame. Fat man with the silhouette. Some of you old heads, I don't know, you might be fans. But see, here's the thing. I used to see what was happening, but I could never figure out why. Why do these people come onto the internet every day with no known other purpose but to simply gaslight other people? Why do they do it? Now, of course, I've gave my synopsis on this in past videos talking about people's pain and suffering and all of this. But you know, I think I was giving some of you a little bit too much credit. Some of you are just pure D a-holes, and that's just what you are. Ain't got nothing to do with what happened in your childhood. Ain't got nothing to do with the fact that you got cut from the football team and lost a scholarship or some other past event. You're just not a real good person in nature. You know what I mean? You have potential, as I always like to remind you so subtly. But why? Why do you do it? Now, see, you got to be careful. The typical goal of this gaslighter is not just manipulation, but power and control. See, typically, they use the misguided cooperation of their manipulated victims. This type of learned behavior is also rooted in personality disorders like narcissism, antisocialism. What's some of the other ones I hear y'all use? Y'all call people sociopaths, psychopaths, and so on and so forth. But yeah, again, manipulation and control. I hear you say, I feel like I'm being manipulated. I feel like the person is trying to control me. Now, I've been in situations where we've had what I thought was a serious conversation. Now, I want to say right out the gate, I was the biggest fool coming on to YouTube thinking I was talking to serious people with serious conversations. I found out later on that it was all like a big game, a big joke, or they'll say words like, I'm trolling you. Trolling is a form of gaslighting. It's not funny. It's not like it's a humorous side where we're both in on a joke. It's you saying something or doing something to provoke a reaction in me. Sometimes you do it to the degree where you want to inflict pain or you want to create sadness, depression, or some other negative emotion within the person that you're affecting, which again, at your core makes you the a-hole I was talking about earlier. So yeah, manipulation and control. I hear you say things like that. You want to exude power over your audience. You know, your chat, the people that rock with you, you know, the 40 or 50 people that tune in, you know, you keep them beguiled. Now, and for the general audience, most people will just show up, but you have your picks. You have certain ones or certain key players that you will target and try to use these tactics. Even members from the audience themselves will also use the tactics and try to manipulate or control you, the host, in the same way. Welcome, YM. Yes, it's a two-way street. You just have to figure out where you are in the circle and where you are in the game. Now, again, how does this gaslighting work, though? You know, you're a smart person, you're intelligent, you somewhat wise. How do you get caught up in it? So basically, it's a technique, right? And the people that do it, they have this mastered. I even believe that some of them don't even realize that they're doing it, you know. But it's a technique they use to undermine a person's perception of reality, like I said before. See, when somebody's gaslighting you, the first sign you're going to know, you're going to be second guessing yourself, your memories, perceptions. They're going to try to twist your mind using wordplay, word soup, ill logic, all these kind of weak ass tactics are pretty much what they are. So after communicating with this person, you'll find yourself left with confusion, self-doubt. You might even think something's wrong with you. Now, some of you, by the way, have experienced this inside of romantic relationships, especially when you get in an argument. You come at the person, you have a most definite point of view. You have some logic all laid out, packaged up, ready to go. And somehow in the argument, they twist things around, gaslight you, and have you thinking you're the crazy person. When you're like, wait a minute, I found a phone number in your pocket with some woman's name on it, and all of a sudden, I'm crazy? Hey, that sounds familiar. Anyway, so sometimes you might even find yourself being encouraged to actually take the blame for something. Or they'll say things like, you're too sensitive. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Or my personal favorite, this is just YouTube. Why is it always just YouTube when it's happening to me, but when it's happening to you, you got a case and you got to do a 4-hour live explaining why you're a victim? Anyway, I'm sidetracking there. Let's get back on topic. So the gaslighting itself, that can confuse you and cause you to question your judgment. Like I said, they kind of distort reality in a way and place you into the twilight zone, you know? Now, you got to be real careful with this because depending on where it's happening and where it's coming from, especially if it is a romantic relationship, you know, a live-in partner, a marriage or something like that, if this person is chronic with that activity, man, you might find yourself in a very bad place in need of some medical attention. Welcome, CE, in need of medical attention, which takes me back to my first point. All of you mental medical professionals around here, man, I'm expecting more out of you guys. Now, I'm not telling you to come on here and waste your precious gifts on offering people therapy, but what I would like to see is let's stop. What's the word I'm looking for, y'all? Promoting. Let's stop enabling these people that have these issues on here. All right, let's not play the game. I'm not here to play the game. I'm here to talk about it, and hopefully eventually we can have an open discussion and go back and forth with some things. So the thing is, too, the gaslighter, typically these people are habitual and pathological liars. They frequently exhibit narcissistic tendencies as well. Because I'll hear you guys, you'll say, you're a narcissist, you're this, I'll hear you call the names, and I'm like, yeah, that person's a master gaslighter. You know, they'll blatantly lie. They won't back down. They won't change their story. And even when you call them out with proof of their deception, like you guys, y'all call them receipts, they're going to say something like, you're exaggerating, that never happened, you're crazy. Or the favorite one I like that they always do, soon as you get them dead to rights and you say, I have you on tape on this day, this is you on the video camera, this is you committing the offense against the other person, I have it right here, I'm pushing a play button. And then they say, well, what about that time when it happened to me? You wasn't there when they did this. You deflection, deflection, a whole school of herring fish with no net, and such and such. So, why are we talking about this? Does any of this sound familiar to you? Welcome, Stephanie Collins. Stephanie came through. You know, my day is now complete. Thanks, Steph, for coming by. And Sector J, welcome. So anyway, this is a lot of the dialogue that we see. So my question is, now, it only took me 2 years to start sorting this out. How did I figure it out? Like, how did I get the keys to the game? Well, you heard in my last lecture series, I was talking about disengaging. Well, that's the first thing you want to do is once you recognize you're in a gaslit situation, definitely you want to separate yourself. Stop coming back here arguing with these people. Stop getting in these same circular conversations that don't go anywhere. They're gonna keep deflecting and keep buck dancing back and forth. Man, don't find yourself caught up in this, especially if you are a halfway intelligent person. Don't do it. Don't get yourself caught up. But hey, you're going to anyway. Like I told you in the last lecture, that deals with the pain body, that pain that the gaslighters doling out, if they're not in the a-hole category, which most of them are, and you, the person that just loved to receive the pain, the glutton for punishment. So now, other tactics that these gaslighters are going to use, simply, they're going to spread rumors and gossip about you to others. They're going to pretend to be worried about you while subtly telling others, you know, I think something's wrong with him. I'm concerned about her, such and such, and this and that. That's why all of a sudden you getting this email for no reason. That's why all of a sudden this person is calling you under the guise of, hey, just want to see how you was doing. But then all of a sudden it's going to drift into, let's talk about the players. Let's diagnose and dissect these other people. That's how it works. Now, the whole thing about spreading the rumors and the gossip, man, come on. That comes down to, have you ever just turned the internet on and woke up and you was part of some false or fake narrative and you just like, how in the hell did I get here? Easily. The gaslighter has put you there. You don't have to, trust me, they're going to find something that you did wrong and exploit it. They're going to find something that might be suddenly out of place. They're going to exploit it. Or if they can't do that, they're just going to make up something completely falsehood and have you caught up in the nonsense. Now, don't be like me in the past. Don't fall into the trap. Don't do it. I've done it. I fell into the trap. I've responded. You all do the same thing. You fall into these gaslighters traps. You respond and you start going back and forth. It's like watching Venus and Serena, you know, at the French Open with that back and forth nonsense. Don't get caught up in that. Like I said, this is TMK Media. I am Dr. Bombay. This is a solutions-based platform, and you'll see as we progress along, we're going to move towards a solution. Thank you to everybody that came in, Mr. Defraud and Charlatans. I keep wanting to call you, what that hotel? Derek Cephas, Williams and YM, Yolanda Martinez, and Sector J. Okay, I'm going to break in a minute, start looking at comments. But anyway, check this out. Damn, I lost my place, y'all. Y'all know when I get on the roll, I be having this stuff. You know, I got that COVID fog. I lose my place. I kind of forget where I was with things. But anyway, you know, again, they're going to lie to you and tell you that other people, they feel a certain way about you. And them people, they ain't never said nothing about you. But they'll say things like, well, you know, the whole sector feels. You're the only one in this whole section of YouTube that's this, and everybody knows it. Come on, y'all. Walk with me, right? See, we need to break all this down. The reason why I'm here to break this down is because it's time to move forward. It's time for some growth and expansion. I'm here to bring that to you. I'm the architect of the matrix. So herein lies a new direction, y'all. So, man, this could go on forever now, couldn't it? Damn. Another thing, too, is the trivializing your emotions. You know, I kind of alluded to that earlier when I say, why don't you calm down? Why are you taking this so seriously? It's just YouTube. You're paranoid. You're overreacting. They do that to gain power over you. That gets you to relax and say, hey, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing happening. There's nothing going on. You know, that's to put you at ease so they can put their foot further on your neck and apply pressure. All right. See, the difference is when you deal with somebody I'm sorry, not the difference, the similarity. When you deal with somebody who never acknowledges your thoughts, feelings, or your belief, you may begin to question them yourself. See, y'all, man, Lord help you if you're in a romantic relationship like this. A lot of you end up, in that, and to the point where you will completely lose yourself. And then you walk away angry, you walk away upset, you walk away hating all women or hating all men, and just left off in a bad way. This is why you have to stay in a present state of mind. You have to stay aware. You have to stay conscious so that you don't find yourself a victim of this. So you'll find in the end, you'll end up losing a lot of weight, brain cells, and calories trying to deal with these type of individuals. Again, we ain't got to sit here. We don't have to talk about people. Let's talk about the phenomenon surrounding the people, right? So we can come to a resolution. Welcome to everybody that came through or coming in. Sometimes I get carried. She on the left side of your head now, hooking up the braids. I'm going to pause for 1 second to highlight one comment, just real quick. Stephanie says that lady tried to do that with that whole white bitch situation. She told people to go check on me. She didn't know. She wanted me to go off and get things started by the way another woman and I. Wow. Again, no doubt about it. You know what? And hey, Steph, if you're around, maybe you can, later grab the mic. So anyway, man, to me, as I say it, just saying it out loud, it just makes it seem so plain and clear. Another thing too is they like to shift the blame. That's just another tactic they use. It's your fault this is happening. Every discussion you have is somehow twisted to where you're to blame. Literally, you come at them and say, hey, you offended me. You did this, thus, and so. I have the receipts. I have the material evidence here. Oh, the only reason that happened is you made me do this. It was your fault because, see, I wouldn't have had to go off on you if you wasn't over there with them and this and that. That's why I said to all the professionals around here, when y'all dealing with these individuals, man, give them some good advice. Stop coddling people like this. Stop supporting their delusions because you like somebody's personality. Give them the real deal. You're not helping them. You're not. All right. And for anybody that has any half intelligence, please do the same. Please do the same. Oh, so even when you try to discuss how the abuser's making you feel, they're able to twist the conversation. So you end up questioning if you're the cause of the bad behavior. Oh yeah, they're gonna make you feel bad. You go in with a valid argumentative point, and then all of a sudden they have you arguing about the argument. Then all of a sudden you yelled at me, you hurt my feelings. All of now you sitting there feeling bad, and you the one that had the grievance that made sense in the beginning. So they say things like, well, see, if only you would have came at me and you would have spoken lower tones, or if you would have just acted differently, then I wouldn't have responded in the way that I did. Come on, y'all. Come on. And you better believe in a million years, you're not going to get them to ever admit they did anything wrong at all. Not going to happen. Or they'll deflect this, well, you did it to me first, or they did it first. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. I never do anything. You ever notice they are never guilty. They never stepped on a bug. They never cut somebody off in traffic. They ain't did nothing wrong in their whole life. Boy, gas lit. They got a whole tank of methane lighting that gas. But anyway, you got to watch out, though, because people who engage in this type of bullying and emotional abuse are notorious for denying what they did. They never, ever, trust me. They're going to do what? They're going to demand an apology of you. They're going to tell you need to be held accountable. They're going to tell you that you need to apologize and take responsibility for the poor choices that they made. Is any of this ringing a bell? Is any of this sounding familiar to you at this point? Unless you're sitting here focusing on my accent because of where I'm from. But anyway, that type of denial, that can make you feel small, making you feel unseen, unheard, as though the impact on them yourselves is of no importance. And it also makes it hard for the victim to move on or to heal from the bullying or the abusiveness. Now, I'm going to say this to y'all. I'm going to segue for a second. All of y'all on here are grown adults. Everybody's here, for last I checked, is over 21. So know this, though. Don't have any shame for yourself. If you've been a victim of this, or if you were one of the a-holes perpetrating it, don't, no shame in that. That's the whole point. We're here to learn. We're here to learn. We're here to build. We're here to move forward. We're here to progress. You understand? See, the gaslighters, they just going to keep fanning the flames because they can't offer you anything else. I keep telling you this. You go sit in on their broadcast, you're going to hear the same thing over and over and over and over. Let's find somebody. They made a mistake. Let's expose their shame. Let's beat their asses publicly, and let's keep doing it and doing it and doing it until we get something else to talk about. And if we can't get nothing else to talk about, let's gaslight and create a false narrative. My question to you is, how long you going to keep being a victim of this? How long you going to keep being a participant under the guise of what you call entertainment? It's nothing entertaining about it. It's nothing entertaining watch somebody having a mental breakdown. See, what's going to happen is one of these times you're going to be a part of the little party, right? And somebody's going to become victimized. And then all of a sudden you ain't going to hear from that person no more, where they went off and committed some type of self-annihilation or something like that. Then when you find out, oh, I can't believe that went on. Well, ain't no point crying about it after the fact. Like I said, y'all, everything is not entertainment. Everything is not funny. You gotta be able to have that power of discernment to know the difference. By this point, especially late 30s and the 40s and the 50s, you should have some type of life experience where you're not getting caught up in this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. You know, every time I segue, I lose my train. But anyway, sorry, y'all. I had a text coming through. So, again, let's not get caught up. Oh, we can't forget the smooth one, the nice guy or nice girl that use their compassionate words as weapons. You know, sometimes the person who gaslights will use kind and loving words and try to smooth over the situation. You know, they say things like, man, you know, I would never do nothing to you like that. You know, I got love for you. Or y'all be on here talking about y'all love each other. Like, really though? You ain't never seen that person's face. Anyway, I ain't gonna pick. I'm not here for that. You know, I would never do nothing like that on purpose. It's just that I was caught up in the moment. It's just that it was funny. They was roasting. I was just there. Whatever. Those are the words you want to hear, but still they are inauthentic, especially if the same behavior is repeated. See, that's the cycle. I'll tell you, man, you know, I got love for you. You know, I ain't mean nothing by you. Know, the next thing you know, boom, I need some more content. I'm beating you down. Now, 2 weeks from now, I'm smacking you up again. We done had another falling out. I done created another narrative. See, it's really a sickness at its core, to be quite honest. It's a sickness at its core. There's no other way to explain it. You know, I kept wanting to justify it in my last presentation, talking about the pain cycle and not. Yeah, I give that some credit. It do have a lot to do with pain, but hey, what can I tell you? My last point, and then let's go into some comments, and then I'll get back to the discussion. So the gaslighters too, they have a tendency to rewrite history. And they always retell or tell the stories where they're the hero in the story. You know, they are never at fault. And again, they always say, well, and if they are at fault, they're still not at fault. You know, because see, you made me do this. You understand? See, oh, I'm sorry, you got a black eye. You tripped. I didn't shove you. I kind of leaned into you, but you know, you're just clumsy. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. Any of this sounded familiar? Anyway, let me jump in a couple of comments, y'all, because there's a lot of them. I guess I have clear channel 60,000 watts. By the way, between. Okay, dang, my bad. All right, Muslim, welcome, brother. Yeah, you made it. You did make it. Okay. YM says, I'm still wondering why you're talking about this topic, but maybe you can't see my comment. What topic are we talking about still? I'm not sure which topic is that. I did 3 lives in the last 2 weeks. There's no specific topic. Oh, maybe it's maybe it is similar to the other one. I don't know. But this one is gaslighting. This one's more specific. That's why I tell people I don't believe them on here when they say I love you. They're the first ones to cuss me out later. Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it. I love you is a manipulation. No doubt about it. All right. So anyway, right? Check this out. What are the signs? How do I know I'm being gaslighted? Let's just say I'm naive. I don't know any better. I just don't know. I don't have a clue as to what's going on. See, the thing is, when you're subjected to this type of activity, it can create, like I said, mental issues within yourself. Anxiety, depression, other health concerns, addiction, and sometimes the ultimate self-conclusion. That's why I say you got to be real careful with these relationships. We all do it sometimes. We all engage. Maybe unknowingly, some of us do, but beware of the professional gaslighters that know exactly what they're doing. All right. So you might try to convince yourself that the treatment you receive is not that bad, or maybe you are being too sensitive. You start to question your judgment and perceptions of things. Do you find that you feel vulnerable and insecure? You often feel like you got to walk on eggshells around your partners, your family members. You feel like you on edge and you got a low self-esteem. See, parents do this too. They'll have you thinking they always make corrections on you and have you to the point where you're not even sure if you're coming or going. They'll never be pleased. The more you give them, the more they're going to gaslight you. You know what I mean? Okay, YM says, let me segue. Why are you still talking about gaslighting? I want to know why you're talking about gaslighting. I'm still wondering, not that you're on the topic, but because the subject is gaslighting. That's the subject. Now, that's all I had prepared. And then I'm going to kind of open it up for anybody that wants to share. So today is gaslighting. I thought I explained earlier when I said, just kind of like a bell went off. I used to find myself always dissecting my online experience, dissecting people and trying to make sense out of things. I started out mostly by just complaining about everything. But then I said, whoa, something started to click. And I said, well, how about we start practicing awareness and education versus just complaining, So I took myself out of the audience and put myself in front of the mic. And that's how I got to be here today. And today it just happens to be gaslighting because that is the biggest thing. That's the flashing sign that I see with the bright lights around it. So again, they have you feeling alone and powerless. You're convinced that everyone around you thinks you are strange, crazy, unstable. You start to wonder, could I really be that? Yeah, man, they can have that much manipulation over you. Am I really that way? You're looking in the mirror now, doubting yourself. You're disappointed in yourself and what you've become. You feel weak and passive. You used to be more stronger and assertive. Man, I'm going to tell you something. That is realer than real. And that can happen not only when you're dealing with that type of partner. It don't even have to be a partner gaslighting. You just be somebody that's just, what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? Y'all professional, educated people. They're not really gaslighting you. They're just kind of, they always just put you down. It's some type of abuse, that they do. That more so goes back to that deep-seated pain body I was talking about. And then the gaslighter, their personality always shifts. They always shift. It's like 1 minute they're a nice person, then the next minute here comes the monster, and you start to wonder, are they on drugs? Nope. The gaslighter has a mental disorder themselves. And that's why I say y'all got to be real careful of who you standing next to and who you dealing with. And if you openly admit that you do have some mental afflictions within yourself, you got to be real careful who you expose yourself to. That's why I say, man, look, it's cool. Welcome, Teresa Jackson. Hey, for the action. It's cool to come on here and build relationships with people, set up your panels, your shows, have your dialogue and stuff. But I'm going to tell you, this is probably the worst place for you to come if you have some issues in your life. If you don't have a purpose for being here, then I would say, man, tread lightly, just kind of stay in the background. Don't get caught up and intertwined because you don't know these folks, and unfortunately, this is a haven for the mentally insane. This is a haven for the a-holes and the gaslighters. So you got to just, you got to watch your step with that, because like I say, the self-doubt, you start to minimize, the hurtful behaviors from the person, like I was saying, or I was just joking. You need to stop taking me so serious. Man, who wants to be trolled 100% of the time? That's what get me, y'all. I say I'm a man. So when I talk to you as a man, I want to have a manly conversation. All the jokes and I'm just playing. Ain't nobody got no time for that, to be playing all the time. You want to have a serious conversation? I see that all the time. Y'all be having a serious discussion talking about world politics, the post-World War II geopolitical situation and war-torn Germany or whatever the hell you discussing. And then all of a sudden, the person goes off on a tangent and you start to get upset and they say, I'm just trolling you. I'm just playing with you. You too sensitive. Nah, because see, in real life, we don't do that. Because see, in real life, when you playing with another grown man, you could end up getting the ish smacked out of you. And that's just how it happens. That's why I find it hard to adjust here. Because people say, I'm taking stuff too serious. I'm going overboard with this. And I can see me doing that. But I will never understand the whole trolling aspect, that whole trolling shield, which is hiding the gaslighter behind the shield under the guise of being a troll. And then, of course, what's funny is when we smack the shield out your hand and expose you, all of a sudden you on here crying. You got all these emotions. You on a 10-day tirade of a retaliation against one individual. Sound familiar? I'm just telling all of y'all this. I'm just here to, shed light on the thing and tell you that, you can wake up. You don't have to be. What I tell you on my live the other day about disengaging. You push that red button with the light on it, all this goes away because you don't need this headache in your life. Now, if some people want to come here, they want to build with you, they want to form positive relationships to get some things done. And yeah, don't listen to these clowns talking about this ain't about building and always trying to define what your section of YouTube is supposed to be. Man, no. Let them have it. Do your thing. Speak your speech. Because see, like I told you, a lot of them, that's all they got. They don't have nothing else. They don't have the intelligent conversation. All they got is, you got your men. How can I discredit a female? How can I make a woman cry? How can I beat down on somebody that's weaker than me? That's a weak ass trait. We ain't here to talk about that though. That's a part of gaslighting, no. It's a part of it. But fellas, I'm gonna stay off your neck this time. You know who you are. You know what a man is, and you know what it's not. But then, like I said, you feeling confused, y'all dealing with these people. You got this impending sense of doom. You spend a lot of time apologizing. They do that. They always have you walk with me. You find yourself apologizing to these people all the time. You don't even know what you did wrong. You just apologize. You don't even know why. And a lot of times they demand your apology. You ever notice? I don't care what you say. You got to give me your apology. Your apology ain't good enough. Apologize some more. Do it some more. Be more sincere. It's not sincere enough. Write it down. Put it on a card. Add a flower to it. Man, come on, man. You gotta know you getting manipulated. The gaslighter is in full effect. So now you feel inadequate. You feel so small. You can sit on a dime and let your feet hang down. Man, they did a number on you. Just went inside your brain with one of them egg scramblers, just scrambled it all up. But anyway, like I said, there's a way back, right? I wasn't going to speak all this death, doom, misery, and destruction and not have a way out. Like I said, this is a solutions-based platform. We don't come on here, bitch, complain, and moan with no way out. Nah, we don't do that. We on here because hopefully I can come up with some ideas and hopefully you can help me build upon those ideas and we can have a discussion. So, my thoughts. What is the solution to all of this? What do you do if you find yourself the victim? of a gaslighting individual? Well, if you find yourself experiencing this, there's some steps and things you can do to protect yourself. Number one, gain some distance. Didn't I say, y'all, disengage? Disengage. Put as much distance between you and that person as possible. Now, if you live in the house with that person, or you're married to them, or you're in a relationship, that might be a little more difficult. But in that case, I would say to you, y'all gonna need some counseling, because you might not be able to just pick up and you don't have an extra room to go to. But if you find yourself married to an a-hole, the gaslighter, then hey, distance, y'all. But on here, on YouTube, oh hell yeah. YouTube got over 700 million accounts. You do not have to deal with anybody here. You got a block button. You got all kinds of stuff. And if you find that you can't sit up in them clouds and listen and without coming down to say something when your name rings out, you got to respond, you got to say something, then just turn the machine all the way off. All right? So put some distance between you. Take a step back. Physically leaving the situation is definitely a big help, you know. And definitely, y'all got to build up your psychic self-defense. So when this is happening on, use a breathing meditation techniques to center yourself, to bring yourself back to the present moment. All right. So sometimes you hear, and all of a sudden you start hearing that all they sound like is blah, 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 blah. You just kind of tune it out, you know. But create the distance, y'all. That's the best thing to do. Next thing, you want to preserve the evidence, right? Because see, they start to make you question yourself and doubt yourself and things like that. So what you want to do is start writing down your experiences. Write down, hey, what it is you do know that is factual about yourself, how you really feel, what you truly believe, and then write down what they're being told and what they're trying to impute upon you. All right? Keep it. Journals, texts, receipts, emails, everything. Because you're going to need documentation. Now, not to fly in their faces and say, hey, look, I got you. I caught you. You know, it's a shameful thing you're doing. But more so to be able to find your way back, to be able to get back to yourself as a reminder. You need that as an anchor. So you got to have that evidence. Hopefully you got somebody in your life that can you know, help keep you grounded. But if you don't have that, you got to rely on yourself. So you got to have your evidence. Next thing, you want to set some boundaries. Yes. Yep. You look these people right now and you tell them what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept in this friendship, this relationship, this marriage, this whatever. You tell them how far you're willing to go and what you ain't going to do. In other words, stop playing with me, quote unquote, to the great oracle. Stop playing with me. Make it clear that you're not going to accept their actions anymore. You know, when they want to engage, you know, such, you know, ways of trivializing you or denying what you have to say, you know, just put that outside of your realm of your boundary and just be like, I'm not dealing with this. Boom. So when the line of questioning starts that you know is going nowhere, when you're up on the panel, if you're on social media and you get blindsided by these individuals and all of a sudden they got all these questions, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about, man, I'll tell you something, man. You don't even owe them a response. You do realize you don't sleep with none of these people. You don't take them home with you at night. You do realize that they're getting their jollies off by making you grovel and do all the things like that, right? Yeah. So they're going to create discord. They got to have narratives because otherwise they have nothing else. They have no fuel. That's for the online gaslighter. The real life gaslighter, that's a whole nother story though. But again, you got to stop giving any of them the fuel. So set your boundaries. Another thing too, you always want to have a point of reference outside of your circle. You know, talk to a friend, you know, a family member, somebody that is grounded, somebody that truly knows you, that has a perspective that can help make the situation clear to you. See, your friends, they know who you were before, and they watch the changes happening. Like, girl, you don't even wear makeup no more. Girl, you don't even do your hair no more. girl, we go out, you call him every 10 minutes. Like, what's going on? You know, you out there, ain't no man gonna want you with these kids. You know, they tell you all these things. Man, y'all gotta, again, man, you gotta keep your circle around you. Because that's what the gaslight is gonna do. They're gonna try to break you down, isolate you. And if you on here and you got an online friend in your section of YouTube and y'all tight, that person's gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna wedge and come between you. They're gonna do that. They're gonna separate, isolate, and they're gonna break your partner down and turn them against you. Then here comes the gaslighting, the accusations, all the things they've been holding for months, or allegedly been holding. They're kind of getting coached. Now they see you as the enemy. Any of this sound familiar to you? I don't know. Raise your hand. Ultimately, the final answer, the final solution, end, terminate the relationship. That's where it gets difficult, y'all. But the most effective way is to end the abuse, the cycle of pain. Terminate, separate. That's going to be the hardest step, y'all. Because trust me, trying to reform these people ain't going to work. You got a bunch of negative energy pouring in. It's pouring into your section of social media, TikTok, wherever you are, Instagram. It's pouring into your group. And like I say, these fools is priding themselves on acting like this. They pride themselves on being like this. You know, again, they got to keep it at a low vibration because otherwise they don't exist. So again, I pinned the link. We got like 22 people hovering in the building. We got 12 people that are serious and the rest with probably not a lot of places to go. It's the only thing on TV right now. So again, if you got some commentary or some insight that you would like to share, feel free to hit the link and come up and talk about it. If you have personal experiences, and by the way, we don't do the name game over here. We don't have to get into that because this is a very universal message. And like I said, out of all the hundreds of millions of channels on YouTube, I would like this message to be preserved in a way that if somebody else comes upon it, they can get something out of it. And they won't be trying to figure out who these code names is of people that nobody ever heard of. And them people only exist on YouTube. They don't exist nowhere else in the real world, which would explain to you why they are the way they are. But yeah, I just wanted to drop that. Man, I made it 47 minutes. I usually cruise at about an hour. I mean, what do you think? Matter of fact, while we're waiting for that, just in case anybody feels courageous, let's just go back through some of the comments. Muslim says, peace be upon all and peace be upon you, sir. Conscious energy. Not when you're the butt of the joke. Some of these things are out of context. I hit that one before. I need love, LL. Hilarious. Wondering why? I'm still wondering, not that you're still on the topic. I want to know why you talking about gaslighting. Oh, see, y'all know I'm slow. I had to read that like 4 times to get it. No, I'll explain. And for the 3rd time, I already explained it. But yeah, it's just, Yolanda, it's just something that just clicked. It's like I really started to stand back and listen to what everybody was saying online. And as I was listening, I started noticing something. They have rehearsed responses to anything that you could say. You can't, if you hit them with facts, they will divert into, well, why didn't you this? Why didn't you that? Giving you impossible situations that you can't answer for, making references to the past. Why didn't you act this way? You didn't come save me. You didn't do this or whatever. You know, something that it's an impossibility for you to get out of. And if we sit here, and the sad part is we entertain it. I don't know if we just don't know what's going on or we just enjoy the game. I keep thinking maybe I'm the only one that's taking this serious. Maybe it is a game and I just need to get with it. I don't know. I see some of y'all hurt. I see some of y'all like on here crying. I see some of y'all lives exposed, taken apart. Your family's embarrassed. You embarrassed. I see things like that happen and it bothers me. It gets to me. So I don't think it's a game. It's never a game if somebody's suffering. Not to me. It's not a game. Muslim says, wonder why. Okay. Why Is it the subject? Is it random? I went back to re-listen to the beginning and didn't hear the origin. Yolanda Martinez, you always looking for the rhyme and the reason. No, nothing happened. I wish I did have some juicy gossip or something that went on that triggered me, as they say, he's triggered. I wish it did happen, but no, it didn't. It's just, seriously, it just clicked. I'll tell you a secret. I had 3 topics in my mind that I wanted to talk about, and you should have heard it. It was some good ones, but when I started to kind of think about what I was going to say, I kept running into a mental block. But when I thought about this, it just said, oh my God, it just clicked. It came out. You know what I mean? Oh, Miss Jackson says, great topic today. I will need to rewind to catch what I missed. No doubt. I hope that you do. Verbal abuse, maybe? Yes, they are verbally abusive. I can't remember that word I was looking for, though. I agree that we do not know each other. Definitely we don't. And that's one of the problems, too. Sometimes we get attached to each other on here. We really like a person. And that what makes it worse. I've been known to do that. Like, I really like a person's personality, and then they do the 180 on you and flip. And then you sitting there like, damn, like, first you're going to get angry, then you're going to be confused, then you're going to be hurt, then you're going to go through a series of emotions. But then I got hip a long time ago when I used to talk about how this is trolling is profitable. But then I said to myself, why make it so simplistic? Why say things like trolling is profitable or this or that? Sometimes it's not a profit involved. Sometimes it's a little more simplistic than that, which takes us to the day's topic, gaslighting. That's what brought this about. I didn't want to just come on here and say, well, let's talk about this one individual that did this to the other individual, and I'm on this side, and that person shouldn't have did that. That is so typical. You hear that all day. I felt like, let's talk about the mechanism. Let's talk about what's behind the scenes so we can drag that out and expose that. So now when you hear these topics and you go to your neutral corners, hopefully these words and thoughts and meanings will resonate with you in a way where you say, you know what? I just asked this person a direct question and they brought up something from 1983. I think I'm being gaslit here. And then you'll just sidestep it and move away. Because see, it can't work. It takes 2 to tango. You got to have, the person that's gaslighting, and you got to have the other person that's on the receiving end. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Unless you just enjoy the dance. A person who constantly trolls can't be trusted. No doubt about it. They're very disingenuous people. It's nothing is that funny. Now, I'm going to say this with an exception. To the trolls that go into chat rooms and they just type, I'm good with that. You're typing. I have a choice. I can either read what you say or not. But when you're on camera and you're verbal, you're just sitting here like acting like everything's got to be a joke. Like, hey, I got you. Man, nobody got time for that. Not as a grown ass man. I don't. Manipulation is the core of it. No doubt about it. And then, of course, Carrie stopped by. She'd probably be on, but she's getting braided up. Spicy Kai came through all the way from Compton. What's up, homegirl? From Nutty Block. That's what I did. That's why you haven't seen me in certain chats anymore. No doubt about it. I mean, and again, I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody and talk about what people do, because I used to find myself doing that, coming off sounding pompous and judgmental. It's not about that. I have a whole topic called Just Not Lest Ye Be Judged. But I said, instead of talking about individuals and what they're doing, which again, there's room for everything. There's room for everybody here to do what you want with your respective channels. I'm not interested in debating what happened with you, what to say. I'm walking away from this conversation, what to say. Oh, no doubt about it. That's good advice there. The fraud says it's all good. TMK, I think people get caught up in the personal aspect of it. It's natural. Yeah, no doubt. You watch Sesame Street, you start to think those Muppets are real people. I know I did, but I was 6 years old. I don't know why people are doing it now. A Muslim said, I don't like the word submission when it comes to marriage. I believe your wife is your partner in life and advisor. Your wife is closer to you than your shirt, the Prophet Muhammad. You know what, a Muslim, I would like to hear you come up here and talk about that more, because now most people, especially when they think about Islamic marriages, they think about some woman that's just being submissive and a whole bunch of control. If you could shed some light on that, I would find it a very interesting topic to talk about. Um, Thanks for going back to my question. I know that's not always easy. Yeah, because I have a terrible memory. Miss Carla Martin is here. You better believe it. Hey, she loving the convo. Carla, you know you're more than welcome. The link is pinned. Always love having you. You always keep it. You one of the realest ones around here, and that's for sure. I ain't never seen you bend or waver. I'm looking forward to the next show, Carrie says. And Muslim says, oh, the best among you is he who is best to his wife. Paradise is at the feet of your mother. Deep. Now, that's funny with all the misconceptions about Islam, how the woman is highly celebrated. Okay. Kai says, yes, South Side and West Side. Not no doggone Nutty Block. You know your baby daddy from Nutty Block. Anyway, he from ABC. Long time no see. Stefan Gitano, welcome, welcome. I've been observing you in different places, Stefan, and it's been quite entertaining, I must say. I must say. Let's just say my wife is a big fan of yours. Beautiful verses, Muslim, and good advice. See, Muslim be breaking it. See, Muslim, I'm telling y'all about that, brother. He be having secrets. Muslim has a lot of knowledge and wisdom, but y'all don't utilize him in the right way. Y'all don't utilize him like you should. But trust me, the brother's deep. And one day, you ever notice though, in a lot of the chats, he always he makes a lot of additions to the information. He adds a lot of insight to things. And sometimes he makes corrections, but he's very polite about it. Now, see, that's somebody y'all would want to talk to and benefit from. I've seen him come up on panels and really blow the topics right out the door. And I always appreciated that. That's what we're going to do around here, y'all. We're moving into 2023. Let me tell you something. Don't make a New Year's resolution. Make it today. Why not the 20th of December? Why it's got to be the 30th or the 31st? No, do it right now. Because, see, the problem with resolutions is simple. When you go to that gym in the first week of January, what do you find? It's overcrowded. You can't even get a treadmill, right? All the dumbbells are gone. What happens when you come back about 5 weeks later? The gym is back empty again. It's an echo, right? That's why I say don't make a promise. I tell you, the day is the first day of the rest of your life. Every day you get a do-over. It's like Groundhog's Day. You can simply start over again. You can do it again. And welcoming to the panel in the middle of, I know her head is tender by now with them braids. Sometimes I get carried away. Welcome.
Hey, no, actually, I just was getting my hair braided down for a wig, so I'm done. I've been done.
Okay. I thought you get the micro mini Beyonce joints.
Nah, I've been wearing braids too much. I don't want to wear my hair out. So, we have to with Black women's hair, when those of us that like to get our hair styled a lot, we have to be like a farmer. Like, you can't be overusing the same piece of land.
You got to rotate the crop.
You got to rotate the crops. So, wow. If you want to keep your edges, and I'm deeply invested in keeping my edges. So, I just wanted to touch on this the idea that I appreciate how Muslim is represents a side of Islam that's not misogynistic, at least not the way he speaks in the sector. I really appreciate that from him. And I had an incident in my at work, right, where we have like these new teachers, and to make a long story short, a lot of the literature, I guess this shouldn't be surprising, but a lot of the literature that's currently being kicked around in American public schools is racist in a new way, right?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be racist in the way that there was only white authors and white history was being taught. But now, even in these classrooms that claim to be woke, they're picking out all these depictions of people from non-white countries as like victims or barbarians and shit, with these white saviors. And anybody that, if you have a kid in high school, or if you have any, relation to what kids are reading in America, a book that's been really popular lately is this book called The Kite Runner. That's all about this little kid getting molested by the Taliban before he gets saved by some white Americans, right? And almost every school in America, this is the only depiction that they have of Muslims in the canon. And they act like they're doing such a favor by showing this part of non-white, a non-white country,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes all the Muslims look like what they want them to look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so just with Muslim dropping those verses in appreciation of women and how men should treat women, especially their wives, I kind of worked with the librarian at my school and I told her like all the books for the Middle Eastern unit we had picked out were all about like terrorists and child abusers. And it's not just at my school. Like, I don't know if y'all know this is a problem. They do the same thing with Africa. They do the same thing with Black women in America. These authors that are really popular, like Toni Morrison, paint Black women out to be monsters if you actually sit there and read it, right?
Yep.
Subhuman, all the Black men, it's all these horror stories, but none of the horrible. It's like only the Black people being painted this way. So like white American liberals love this shit because they get to pretend like they're learning about Black people, but they never get indicted in it. It's only indictments of like brown people, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I found this book we're gonna do called "Does My Head Look Big in This?" and it tells the story of like I don't think the girl's American. I haven't started reading it yet, but a girl who wears a hijab to a Western school. And I checked with some of my students who wear a hijab and they're cool with it. But I did just want to give Muslim props. And I don't know how much his presence. I definitely wanted to make sure I wasn't showing this stereotype of Muslims within the confines of my classroom. Because he's right. There is a lot in Islam that gives reverence to women. It's true.
Can I ask you a question? You were talking about a topic earlier. You were talking about protection in the community. I know I'm kind of off base with this, but it was something I was wondering because you kept making a reference to how people always focus on their own families, what's going on in the confines of them or their own homes. I remember having teachers and some professors, as limited as the courses they were, that would do something I would call it keeping it real. Like these teachers would close the door and tell you the real deal. Like, they didn't give you what was in the book. I'm wondering, are you that type of teacher? Like, do you do that with your students? Do you kind of give them reality? Or are you like stuck within the guidelines of the curriculum and you can't freestyle like, some professors would do in college?
Well, I don't say anything to my students that I feel I would have to close the door to say, but it's nothing. This in different states, I suppose it's different, but there's nothing in my job that restricts me from giving cultural context to anything that we're reading or doing, and that's not that like radical. A lot of teachers do that or try to do that. So
Oh.
my answer would be yes, but I'm not going to pretend like that's most teachers are trying to do that most of the time.
Are most of your students Black or of
Yeah.
color? Do you talk? Well, then again, you don't teach the subject, so you can't really. In other words, I guess too, and I guess in a sense, it's not really your job per se to kind of. Well, I don't want to say that either. I mean, because
No, we. I
my
mean,
teachers have a lot of influence on me to this day. It's certain ones I'm still in contact with, and I always profusely thank them for the lessons.
if you're asking me, do we explicitly talk about race in my classroom? Like, yeah, we do.
Uh,
Um, as a matter of fact, let me pull this up. As a matter of fact, just recently I was having a discussion after the students had time to free write what they wanted to talk about. And we were having a discussion about whether or not sports was racist and whether or not, yeah, something's up with my internet, I think. Let me see. We were talking about whether or not sports was racist. Um, and I was just talking about like, uh, what's that guy's name? Let me find it. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, I can't get online for some reason. Y'all, I'm so raggedy. No wonder my computer was asking me if I wanted to join a hotspot. So yeah, I was sharing with them what's that black scholar's name from back in the day? Hold on, let me see if I can find his name because it's like African sounding. I don't want to sound stupid. But I have showed them this clip of this black scholar talking about you know how many here I'll share it with you. Hold on. You might know what I'm talking about. It's the dude who wrote that book that Umar plagiarizes a lot. He talked about the war on black boys. The dude who Umar
Oh,
plagiarized.
um, what, Clark Anderson, Dr. Anderson.
No, I'm talking about Jawanza Kunjufu.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I played them a little one video clip of that, and they were really pleased about that. We talk about like you know, the workforce and what they're preparing for. Teaching literature, you don't have to go off course to relate that to like what's going on today. Yeah. So do we talk about like, you know, um the how it relates to what's going on now? But in general, I try my best to let the students lead those conversations.
So let me ask another question. I didn't mean to bring you up here and interview you. Dr. Umar, right? Let's separate his name from the concept or idea of this school. And how I hear you talk a lot when you say, you know, you want the men to stand up, you want these men to be soldiers like they're supposed to be, protectors. And in this school, this FDMG idea, he proposes to teach like these self-defense tactics and these things to these young black men. Is that the model? Is that the way we should go with that type of model? Do you think that would be useful? Or
Absolutely not. I think that Umar Johnson is the way he talks about hitting little boys, I think is sick. And I don't think he has the temperament to work around children, quite frankly. So, no. And in general, if you want to be the principal of a school, the thing I expect you to be teaching the boys to be as scholars.
I meant the model of it. I said separate his name from it, like
Oh,
the
you did
idea,
say that. Yeah.
not what he's doing. Yeah. Do you think adopting that model in our communities, like a model like that, would be probably helpful? Because I didn't get taught any of that in school. We weren't taught self-defense. I had to get it as an extracurricular activity. We weren't taught pride, history, these things, these
Here's
concepts.
what I would say. Yeah, here's what I would say. I feel you on that. Here's what I would say. Even taking Umar Johnson out of it, as a teacher, right? As somebody that works with children, I think that anybody with the type of ideology that they want to like take on the white man should not be put in charge of children. Like he should be leading grown men for that. Now, if he had already organized a society or organization of grown men who were willing to follow him, I might trust him to have the temperament to teach that to boys.
Oh, okay.
But him having his little fight the white man fantasies and teaching a bunch of innocent children to be soldiers, I think that's just a recipe for disaster
That's
and
all.
abuse.
That's, to me, that's always hype anyway. That the white man stuff. I always felt like now I got caught up in that hype in the 90s, but
Mhm.
later on in life I learned that when people lead off with that, it's usually going to be followed by me giving them a lot of money, and it's going to go nowhere. It's just to me, it's a bit of an illusion. We know racism exists, we know these things exist, but as far as repairing communities or educating children, I think we don't need to include that in with the story. We can educate them and teach them how to be warriors and soldiers and protectors and all these other things without giving them a target of hate or something like that. That's just what I feel.
No, I agree that anytime anybody trying to manipulate my emotions on any type of whether it be race or gender or anything, I'm suspicious of people trying to who come in swinging so heavy with who these alleged enemies and everything. Um, but on top of that, I think if you want to confront an adult threat, the way you cannot have a grown man trying to turn children into soldiers. I think that's uh predatory.
I really appreciate that insight. And I felt like what better person to ask than a professional educator, because especially nowadays, the way schools are changing, like now, how I just think whatever source there is, that I did not have to go to school at a time where I had to worry about mass shootings, metal detectors, and all this other stuff. The worst case scenario was a fist fight. So I think it's a strain enough on our kids that they have to worry about, attacks with automatic weapons or semi-auto weapons. So Lord knows we don't need to put the burden of them on being militaristic or anything like that. So I always wondered that, what
Yeah,
would a
now
school
children
day
should be
be like?
protected by the adults. Now, like I said, if the men ever got to a point where they were functioning as an effective, like protective force, and they want us to bring the boys in it, like Boy Scout style, that's cool. But a bunch of ineffectual men who haven't affected any change, interacting with other adult men, trying to put the burden of their ramblings and ideas onto children who can't really fully consent. I just don't think that that's ever going to end up with anything but disaster.
Yeah, I was saying earlier in your chat, there was a neighborhood, I believe it was Detroit, and it was all the brothers, all the black men. They organized themselves into a force where they literally had guard duty on all the blocks in the neighborhood 24 hours, 7 days a week
Yeah,
to watch out and protect the women and the children. And I looked at that and said, what's stopping us from doing that? Like when
yeah,
people, like you were arguing with people earlier, you said, well, what do you mean you're only protecting yours? And I'm like,
right,
your daughter goes out that front door, you're not with her all the time. Wouldn't it be nice to know that she's going to get off that bus and it's a brother standing down there armed, watching her go home, making sure she makes it,
right.
wife too. So, yeah, I completely respect what you were saying, how we like to pass the buck and now we've become a lot more selfish, whereas, oh, well, mine are good, so that's all I'm worried about, And to me, worrying about your own, that's what leads to every time you turn the news on, there's a victim of a crime.
Exactly.
So these people, I'm pretty sure their parents were concerned about their own, but you got to understand your own has to go out into the real world. So you're either going to be a part of this solution or you're going to hide under your pillow and with your thumb in your mouth talking about, well, as long as I got the ADT system, we're going to be all right up in here.
Well, and it's like I feel like men are just really comfortable with telling women what they want from women. So as a woman, what's wrong with me saying that I want men to create a general air of safety in general, metaphorically on the internet and everywhere? I would like for the same way people be scared to say the name of a Jew, right? Right, because of their retribution, because them Jews ain't gonna back down off no, ain't no we could do. It's you know what I'm saying? Like they gonna figure out what the fuck they could do and they gonna do that. And ideally as a woman, yeah, the men, I would like people to fear my men's retribution.
No doubt about it. I uh
That's
I
what I
dropped
would like, right.
I dropped that comment too. I said in your chat, I said when the Buffalo mass shooter showed up, he know he wasn't going to get met with resistance. When they go pop up in a church and show up, they know, oh, I'm going to sit. They're going to accept me, and it's going to be kumbaya. And then here he comes popping out with an AK, killing 9 people. There was a man. I wish I could. I got to start writing this stuff down. There was one church where a fool showed up. I heard a Professor Black
The
Truth
top
talking
his
about it.
ass, yeah.
Yeah, they got him. They was like,
Yeah.
okay, you got to meet, you want to see the Lord, you're gonna meet him real quick,
I
so
think that was in Texas. Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna tell you, in Texas, everybody
I
got two
see that
guns.
shit.
So that's the
Right.
one place you don't want to nut up at, because
And
you'll
that's
get
how
dealt
people
with
should
quick.
feel. And it's like that was my whole point. And I don't expect our men to win every battle. I don't blame black men for everything bad that happens in the community. But it is very concerning to me when the response on so many issues is there ain't no problem. If there is a problem, it's your problem, not my problem. If it's my problem can't be solved. It's just like, damn. Like, are you sure you can't do nothing? Are you sure? Because I wasn't raised like that.
Sounds like more of that gaslighting. Like I said earlier, you're just paranoid. You're paranoid. You're too fearful. No, this is a reality. What you just said. So
Yeah, and what would it cost you to assert some type of like the small amount of influence? Each person exhibiting a smaller amount of influence can have a great impact. And it's disheartening to me as a human being to hear people on my team just be so comfortable with saying they can't do anything. It's just like, what am I supposed to do if this is my team? Like, what do I do with a team like this?
wow. Well, hopefully things get better. And I guess to answer the question, y'all, the school, it's not up to the school, even if you have an ethnocentric school, to resolve the problems. I guess these young men are going to have to get taught in the homes. So when you're taking care of you and yours, teach them how to take care of the community and everybody else and to render assistance and aid. Like I said earlier in your chat, we went from where if we saw two women fighting, we would jump in and break it up because it wasn't going to go down. Now it's into where you see all the men with cameras cheering it on, waiting for clothes to come off, screaming like a bunch of little girls. I don't know where that came from, but I ain't in agreement with it.
There are men in this world who have such a presence in their communities, people know not to fuck with their women and children. Whether it's a man with an eyesight or not, they know it's going to be hell to pay if you get out of line on their women and children. And why shouldn't I want the same thing from my men? And all this whole like I should only be able to ask for protection from a man I'm either sleeping with or that's my father. Um, that is the current situation we currently have, and that is why so many egregious things happen in our communities in broad daylight in the eyesight of our men, because nobody respects your collective strength.
I'm gonna tell you what set me on fire is when I saw the sisters getting abused in them nail salons and stuff like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, this sister, her son had something in his hand. The little kid, he picked up the toy, and the man accused her of stealing, got into it with her and punched in her eye. And I'm sitting there wondering, like,
Oh
why
my
the whole
goodness.
neighborhood? Why the whole neighbor? No, but I take that back because the dude Tyrone Washington, one of the sisters got smacked or something in the nail salon. Tyrone, he went down there, he walked inside, he said, y'all got 45 seconds before it go down. And then he went outside and threw a cinder block through the window. And then he waited for the police to come. He said, I'll be back. And then when he got locked up, the neighborhood already collected his bail money. And he said, I'll be back here in 2 weeks. And then when he walked back around, he said, oh, y'all still ain't learned y'all lesson yet. So I'm not saying y'all go be violent, but
Right.
man, one of the sisters get their hands put on, and somebody need to feel that.
Period. Right.
Period. So you don't need to do business around here. So you just got to keep losing windows.
And it's not just
for something. You know what I mean?
It's not just the women. Like they want to turn it into that because people don't want to hear what I'm saying. So I got to be a woman that's asking men to fight AAS because I'm scared of her. Even though again and again I'm saying this is actually about D. Darrell and what she did to D. Darrell. And whether you like him or not, at the end of the day, he is a black man with a business, and we shouldn't be pussy. No, what community would sit back and allow people to come into their community and do things like that?
Especially anonymously. And that's what I gave warning
Right.
to around here. I said before, y'all gotta stop letting these people come around with no face, no presence, and just start manipulating. You don't know who's behind the scenes. You have no
All they targets are black professionals who spent decades in their careers. It's no white fraudsters, it's no white liars, it's no white demons. Like all these people do is try to hurt black professionals. And to hear a bunch of black men make excuses for why it's not their problem and they can't do anything, it's just it's not what a woman wants to hear.
I get it. So that's why I say I'm kind of leery about that. Now, to the people that don't have a face and don't have a voice, but you are kind of neutral and you're not making trouble or starting fights or got the Negroes arguing back and forth, then respect due. But I give a bit of a side eye to the ones that you never see, that they always look like they're part of some agenda or always keeping some discord going. So anyway, that's all I got to say
No,
on
I
that.
agree. I think it's some real anti-blackness going around. And just like white women, some of these bitches who want to kick off the racist attacks want to turn around and pretend like it's a bunch of angry black women attacking them. And I see it, but to tell you the truth, them people in their audience is not nobody I care about. So they could think whatever the fuck they want to think. I really don't care.
No doubt about it. So what we do in the real world, we should conduct ourselves accordingly online. I said this too, and I'm not going to make this a racial thing. I'll make that for a separate topic, or not. But
I'm not making it into a racial thing.
No, not you. I said me. I felt myself about to go there, like I was going to go down a whole nother rabbit hole.
Okay, because I didn't wake up out my bed saying anti-biracial shit to them bitches. That's not what happened.
Oh wow. So, I did make it over the hour. I thank you for coming through and stimulating the conversation and answering my questions with this
thanks for having me on.
interview.
Yeah.
You got any final words before we wrap up?
No, I'm gonna hop down. Like I said, I really came up because I was appreciating the stuff Muslim was saying about women and you were saying about protecting women and just kind of like you know, that shit could come from anywhere. It's no to me, it's no real stereotypes about who is gonna be an ally and not, which is why I don't participate in that whole who is black and who is not black contest. To me, it's more important as a person, are they behaving in an anti-black way, right?
Yep.
That's what concerns me, whether or not any individual is considered whatever. I don't find that to be as important, right? I just don't.
And I
Um,
got
yeah. So thanks for having me up, TMK.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Mhm.
The brave one that came to the panel. And with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming out today and listening to my The Road to Enlightenment series. Today's topic was the gaslighter. You understand something here. If you look, there's a rhyme and reason to everything that I do. Hopefully you find these lectures, or what we call in Zen circles, Dharma talks, somewhat informative, mentally stimulating, and perhaps it will bring some enlightenment to your life. There is a common theme here. Every topic we go through is not necessarily to focus or accent the negative, but more so to get you to take a deeper look inside, more so to get you to consider other possibilities and other ways of being. So everything that was said here today was meant. Appreciate you, the commentators, the panelists who came through, and everybody that supported little old me in the time that I was lucky enough to spend here with you. So I leave you with the usual words of peace and tranquility. Namaste.